ready to talk about Kevin Durant at the top of the show, but I don't know, maybe you've heard a little bit. Yeah, we'll get to it. We have some breaking news, though. The Utah Jazz, they have agreed to trade three-time Defensive Player of the Year. How do you say a big perk? Rudy who?
Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves in a blockbuster deal that will pair him with fellow all-star big man Karl Anthony Towns. That's what sources are telling our Adrian Wojnarowski. The Timberwolves, they send Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Jared Vanderbilt, the number 22 overall pick, Walker Kessler, 4 first-round picks to the Jazz, and now the man who broke the news is joining us himself. It's our senior insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, let's just start here. What more can you tell us about how this trade came together?
Yeah, Malika, these conversations between Utah and Minnesota, they've been ongoing here for a period of time, and Utah had talked to several teams on Rudy Gobert, but they kept coming back to their conversations with Tim Connolly, the new president in Minnesota. He was determined to get Rudy Gobert, pair him with Karl Anthony Towns. And listen, they paid a steep price. As you mentioned, the 4 first-round picks plus Walker Kessler, who was the 22nd pick in this draft. So essentially 5 picks. And they were able to keep Jaden McDaniels, their young forward. That was an important part of this. But the chance with this Minnesota team that's emerging in the West, who had to get better defensively, they get perhaps the greatest defensive force in the league, and now it allows Karl Anthony Towns to play more of the 4, to not have to take on those really difficult defensive assignments. And for Utah, listen, this is a team now with who've gathered up 6 first-round picks in the last 24 hours, and Rudy Gobert, 4 years. Max money left on his contract, goes to Minnesota. And now the Jazz, their plan is to retool their roster around their all-star guard, Donovan Mitchell.
I think the question, Woj, when you look at Minnesota, is how are they going to pair Towns and Gobert together on the floor here?
Well, listen, they had talked a lot about this. Tim Connolly, Chris Finch, their coach, and since he's taken over, about going out and getting a center who could have a significant defensive presence. And they looked, in conversations with a number of other teams, even if they were going to use their mid-level, perhaps on a Kevon Looney, if they couldn't get a big trade done. But they were able to go out and get the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and a Minnesota team that's now going to certainly, really have to spend. They just invested a total of 6 years now, supermax money with Karl Anthony Towns. He's under contract 4 new years at $224 million, and they know they've got an emerging star in Anthony Edwards, the number 1 overall pick. It's interesting. Yes. Tim Connolly, in his first draft in Denver, just when he took over the job, he had the 27th pick in that draft. He traded out, moved down to number 32, and I think for some cash to give Utah that pick. They took Rudy Gobert at 27. He gets him back now, and this is a Minnesota team that really is going to continue to be formidable in the West. And now defensively, obviously, Rudy Gobert changes everything.
Absolutely. So then going to the Jazz side of things, what are their plans moving forward here?
Listen, they really wanted to retool this roster in the offseason. Obviously, they've done that now. They traded Royce O'Neal yesterday to the Nets, and that got them another first-round pick. And so whether it's this offseason or at the trade deadline or next year at the draft, whatever it is, they've got a lot of capital to go out and make deals, make trades. They are flush with draft picks. And, you look at the Minnesota picks, all unprotected. The 2029 Minnesota pick is top 5 protected, but 23, 25, 27, all that comes back to Utah. They've got that. Those have great value. And, of course, the pick they got from the Nets. So it isn't just, hey, we may hold on to all of these and use them. They're trade assets. And now Utah kind of clears their decks on Rudy Gobert, and certainly that massive contract. He's been an important part of that team. He and Donovan Mitchell have done a lot of winning in Utah. But Utah entered this offseason determined that they were going to make change, that Donovan Mitchell was not somebody they were going to talk about in trade talks, and they haven't. But they were open to a Rudy Gobert trade, and Tim Connolly and Matt Lloyd in that Minnesota front office, they stayed on it the last 24, 48 hours. I know they had some conversations with Indiana on Miles Turner and kind of concurrently, but they kept coming back to the chance to get Rudy Gobert, and they nailed down the deal this afternoon.
Woj, thank you so much for your...
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.